Good morning, and it's Molendinarius here. Forgive me, because I've got a slight cold this morning. What I want to do with you today is go over some issues with orthography, spelling, and pronunciation of a few tricky words in Latin. The issue here is the problem with dictionaries. There are some dictionaries that get things wrong. And the main problem comes from the Macrons. Macrons are the line over the letter, and they can do two things. If you look at Google Books and you go and you look at the Gradus ad Parnassum, which is a book that is intended for Latin poets, and it gives all the syllable lengths in Latin using macrons and breves. The macron for long syllables and the breve for short syllables. However, sometimes syllables are long, but they have a short vowel, and sometimes they are long and have a long vowel. Vowel quantity is an issue in standard Latin dictionaries. The key text here is Allen's Vox Latina. For anybody who's interested in restored classical pronunciation, this is the standard academic reference text. And then there are other texts such as Sturtevant and Bennett. Now, the first problem comes with the intervocalic letter I. So I, in Latin, as you know, is sometimes a vowel, and sometimes it's consonantal, y. What Comenius would call yod, as opposed to the Greek iota. Now, not only is the sound y of the I consonantal, but it's also double. It's a long consonant. This idea of a long consonant is foreign to many of us. If we speak Swedish, however, it will be familiar. But Latin has long consonants. Consonants that are double in pronunciation. And when a consonant doubles, it splits, and one half of it goes to one syllable, making that syllable long because it then becomes closed. It becomes long by position, meaning that it has three letters, but not by nature. And a long syllable by nature has a long vowel, ah. But if the spelling in the dictionary indicates that the syllable is long by position with a macron, then you get confused because you think the vowel is long, when in fact the syllable is doubled. But dictionaries have no way of showing this, as the standard orthography or spelling of the word only has one letter when two letters are pronounced. So we have words like Ejus, which in a dictionary is written M-A with a macron over the A, I-U-S. But it's not Ejus. That A with the macron over it is misleading because it's the way the dictionary is telling us that the following consonant is a double consonant. And so it's Ejus. And the letter I is actually a Y. It's consonantal and it's doubled. Ejus. Similarly, if you look in your dictionary for the spelling of Hujus, the same thing will come about. It's Hujus with a double Y sound. Ejus, Ejo, Troya. So that's a problem. These are very common words, especially Hujus, Ejus, Ejus, very, very common words. And then we have a few exceptions as well. Di Eukido, which is not doubled. Trajectus, which is not doubled. And then we have a peculiarity with the name Gaius. Gaius has three syllables. Gaius. Although in less careful speech it's Gaius. But it's Gaius, it's supposed to have three syllables. Then we have hicke, heike, and hocke. Hicke, heike, and hocke cause lots of trouble because it has a double consonant at the end, which is foreign to English, unless two words come right together, the end of one word and the start of the next word. But dictionaries will list heek and hawk with a macron over the I and over the O when they mean hicke and hocke. Now, sometimes you'll find this spelled H-I-C-C-E and H-O-C-C-E in some books, like Plautus. But even without the E on the end, it's still pronounced hicke and hocke. The consonant is long. How do you have a long consonant? You go like this. Kke, kke, hicke, hocke. It's like hick, hock. So you get to the C and then you release it, giving you another C. If you speak Swedish, then this will be familiar to you. If you speak English, it'll be very alien. So, historically, the pronoun hicke, H-I-C-E, and the neuter nominative hocke, H-O-C-C-E, lost the trailing E, resulting in hocke, and the neuter spelled hocke, H-O-C, without writing the double C. However, note that heek and hawk also do exist with long vowels, but these are adverbs, the adverb here, and the ablative of that. So for location, it's heek and hawk, right? But otherwise, it's hicke, heike, hocke, this. Another confusion comes with poetry. Certain words in Latin poetry can't be used in certain meters. Arbores, for example, in an hexameter, arbores has a light middle syllable surrounded by two heavy syllables. And so this is a problem because in hexameters, light syllables come in pairs. So poets will do something, they will mangle words. Or they will use circumlocutions or synonyms. But mangling is quite common. For example, Virgil mangles Italia. It should be Italia with a short I. But Virgil prolongs the first I. And not only that, but the standard reference in the dictionaries has Virgil's mangled form in the dictionary. So if you look up Italia in the dictionary, it'll have a macron over the I, misleading you, thinking that when you speak Latin or read a Latin prose text, you should say Italia. But you shouldn't. It's Italia. This is quite clear from Quintilian. He says, Praeterea quae fiunt spatio, sive cum syllaba correpta producitur, ut Italiam fato profugus, seo longa corripitur, ut unius ab noxam et furias extra carmen non deprendas, sed nec in carmine victia dicenda sunt. So the short syllable is prolonged as in Italiam fato profugus. Or a long syllable can get shortened as in unius ab noxam et furias, where it would usually be unias. So these things happen with poets. It's called poetic license. Finally, the great bugbear of using restored classical pronunciation, the thing that makes people shy away from it, is hidden quantity. So in an open syllable where there's no consonant on the end, it's quite clear from poetry if it's a long vowel or a short vowel, because it's a heavy syllable if it's got a long vowel, and it's a light syllable if it has a short vowel. But when we have a closed syllable with 3 letters ending in a consonant, the vowel can be long or short, and you don't know. You can't tell from the poetry how it was pronounced. But the syllable still counts as a heavy syllable in poetry. So then we have to look for clues elsewhere, either through etymology, the origin of the word, Greek transcriptions of the word, because the Greeks had different vowel lengths, and so we can tell if it was long vowel or short vowel, the way the Greeks transcribed it. Sometimes Hebrew transcriptions help too. Mistakes on tombstones, all kinds of things come into play. And the conclusions about what is a long vowel that's hidden away in a closed syllable and what is not are never certain. So there are theories about these. They change over time. And for example, in the 1800s, certain classes of words were thought to have long vowels, and now we think they don't have them. The tendency of people that use restored classical pronunciation is to err on the side of caution. If you go on to archive.org and look for the sounds and inflections of the Latin language by Charles E. Bennett with 2 N's and 2 T's, and check chapter 3, you'll find a list of words with hidden quantity. This is a very useful list of words to learn. One class of such words is words that have the syllable ending in GN, gn. In dictionaries, especially if you're using an older dictionary, that will be marked with a macron, that vowel. But it's not clear whether or not that vowel should be pronounced long. According to Allen in Vox Latina, the only time we pronounce a vowel long in front of GN is regnum, stagnum, segnis, and abiegnus, and all other cases of the vowel before GN are actually pronounced short. Agnus, magnus, ignis, dignus, ignotus, not ignotus, dignus, ignis, magnus, and agnus, which, if you look in your dictionary, you may well find a macron over those vowels, over the A in agnus, over the A in magnus, over the I in ignis, over the I in dignis, and over the I in ignotus. So, only regnum, stagnum, segnis, and abiegnus, but agnus, magnus, ignis, dignus, and ignotus. The key text, if you are interested in restored classical pronunciation, is Vox Latina, the pronunciation of classical Latin by W. S. Allen, that's W. Sidney Allen. I have a copy of that, and if you go onto Google Books, you can read it as a preview, which means you can see sections of it, but you can't see the whole text. Then we have the Latin language, a historical outline of its sounds, inflections, and syntax by Charles E. Bennett, B-E-N-N-E-T-T, and that's available on archive.org. Those 2 texts would be sufficient at this stage for a beginner, and there are various others around. If you go onto Google Books and search for Latin pronunciation, you will find various texts that talk about this subject. But the standard academic reference is Allen. Vale, bye.